Hey guys, so today this video is going to be filmed in two segments. I'm doing an eye tutorial on my everyday go-to eye look, which is what I'm wearing right now. And then I'm going to do a foundation tutorial, which is my everyday go-to foundation, blush, bronzer, contour, setting, all of that. So I didn't know if you guys would want to see the whole video, so I did it in two separate segments. So they're going to bounce back and forth because I do part of my eyes, then I do my foundation, then I go back to my eyes. So if you're going to want to watch both videos, it'll make more sense that way, but I did do it in two, so if you're interested in just seeing foundation, you can see just foundation, and if you're interested in seeing eyes, you can see just eyes. And I'm just going to use this intro for both videos, so that way there's consistency, and I'll just title the eye tutorial versus the foundation tutorial. I forgot to name the lipstick that I was wearing in both videos, so I am wearing ColourPop Ultra Satin Lip in Lion King. And everything else is named, so if you have any questions, comments, just ask me below and I will answer them. And stay tuned if you want to see this look. I will talk to you guys after the videos. So if you guys haven't been watching my eye tutorial, I started with doing the majority of my eyes because there's always some fallout when you're working with glittery eyeshadows. And I had to leave part of the eyes undone because now I do my face. So this is going to be my foundation routine. This is my everyday go-to foundation routine. From foundation, blush, bronzer, highlight, and face setting and all of that. And then I'll finish my eyes and I'll come back and show you the end product. So you want to go in with exfoliated skin. I mean, you want to exfoliate twice a week for like best case. If you use something every day that's got a light micro exfoliating type cleanser, that's great too. And then always moisturize before you start. Make sure your hands are clean so that way you're not spreading bacteria, because if you're putting any kind of products on your face with your hands that are dirty, it can cause breakouts and it can clog your pores, so you don't want to do that. So my first step, once I've cleansed and moisturized, is using a primer. And I never believed in primers until I found this one because they all sucked. They were so silicone-y and they'd like roll up in little balls almost, and I didn't feel like it did anything to make my makeup last or put it on more smoothly or anything. But this Becca Backlight Priming Filter is amazing. So you're gonna take a full pump and then you're gonna dab it on your face and you're just gonna work this all over your face. And it's even safe to use right under your eyes. And you just want to get it up onto your hairline as close as possible. And just cover up all your skin. It has the lightest scent to it. It feels absolutely amazing. It is moisturizing, it's luminous, it is just a beautiful primer. The next step is to take any foundation that you love to use at home. It really doesn't matter what. You know, if you like a sheer coverage, medium sheer, full coverage, just take whatever you use for foundation and you're going to tap it on your face. And it's always better to start with a little bit less and having to add more, because it's easier to add more than it is to take away if you put too much on. And you always want to put foundation on your neck if it's not winter and you're not wearing a turtleneck, because you want to blend everything out so it's all matches up seamlessly. And the best brush in the world, the Morphe M439. Seriously, you're about to see how amazing this is when it comes to blending out your foundation. Look at that already. And you always want to start up on your cheeks and working your way outward, because if you do have too much product on, you can at least blend it out and downward. So start in the middle and work your way out and just buff it as you go. I can already see I'm going to have to add a little bit more, and that's okay because you want to have to add more, not take away. And this brush just contours. Like, look at that, how perfectly it goes up in between your eyebrows. The next step is going to be applying concealer, and the Naked Skin by Urban Decay is so amazing. This concealer, it just doesn't crease, it doesn't feel cakey, it is moisturizing, and it is amazing. I am in love with this concealer. I never absolutely loved any concealer before. This one just is a game changer. I am in the shade Medium Light Neutral, and it actually is going to look like I'm applying a lot, but it works its way out. So you're going to go under the eye, you're going to bring it down, and then I always do one side of the wand under the eye and down the eye, and then the other side of the wand under the eye and down the eye. So you know you're getting about even product. And then you go up your chin, oh my god, up your forehead, on your nose. We all get a little bit of redness in the nose creases, and a little bit on the chin. Now, there are two different ways that you can blend your concealer out. Some people really like using a damp beauty blender. I like using the damp beauty blender to set my concealer. To actually blend out my concealer, I like using that Morphe E20. And I'm just going to start dabbing it out and working the product all along the skin. Now, I am done working with liquids. So if you're not done working with liquids, you don't want to set your face yet, but if you are done with liquids, you can set it. You don't want to set it with a powder and then go back in with liquids, because that ends up building funny and it just doesn't blend in and mesh well. So if you are like me and at this point you're now done with liquids, we are going to set the under eye area first, and then we're going to set the face. The absolute most amazing setting powder is the RCMA, the original no color powder. This huge 3-ounce bottle costs $12. It is like the best bargain thing ever, and you can just buy it from RCMA directly, and it is incredible. And you can use this to bake your face or set it. I take a damp beauty blender, and I've already dampened it. I put it right in the container, and then it looks like a lot, but you just put it under your eye, and then down where your concealer was, and you want to dab it in. You don't want to like push and pull it down. You don't want to pull the product. You want to pounce it around and push it into the skin up until everything is set. If you wanted to bake your skin, your face, your makeup, whatever, you would put a really thick coat of this powder on, and that'll be a separate video I'll show you guys. And you would just leave this thick white powder for anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes. And that would help trap the heat in between what your face is releasing for heat and then the powder, and it would just work the powder and the concealer in really tightly, and then your makeup is not going to go anywhere for the whole day. But even just setting it like this, it's going to help it not crease. And I mean, I haven't baked my under eye area, and I've had no issues with my makeup moving, even after a 12 to 18 hour day. So I haven't found a reason to have to bake it. I haven't seen that being a necessary step. But I like to put a little bit on my chin. I find that area moves because you're always like giving people hugs or resting your hand on your chin, or you know, you have an itch or whatever. And then a little bit on my forehead, because I mean, I get sweaty and it's hot and summer and humid. So next we are going to set our face. I use the Giorgio Armani No. 2 Luminous Silk Compact, and it is just really a sheer foundation, but it's great for setting your face. You could also use the Laura Mercier setting powder. That one's great. I just love that this is completely matte. There's no sparkle, no sheen, no nothing. And then I'm using the Sephora Pro Flawless Light Powder No. 50 brush. And I'm just going to apply a little bit of product and set this all over. And then when you're working with bronzers later on and building any other kind of powders on your face, this is going to help make that process a lot easier for blending. Just to have this kind of powder set on your face. And it's also going to help your foundation stay and not move. The next step is going to be to contour your face, and I'm going to use Benefit in the shade Hula. It is just a really nice matte, neutral, warm color. And the Morphe M523 is a great contour brush because of its shape and the way it's angled. So once you dab your brush in the powder, you want to tap off the excess. And the way you contour is you go from the top of your ear and you want to do a straight line and you stop at the corner of your eye. So you're going to make that kind of a shadow. And again, you want to start off with a light product and then build it if you want a more harsh or darker contrast for your contour line, because it's so much easier to add more than it is to take away. And we're going to do that on both sides of the face. And then just kind of blending it a little bit. So you can see that this brush, even though it's a little bit more of a firm brush, it's still great to help blend. Here I like to do a little bit of baking. I take that RCMA loose powder again, and the Morphe M459 is a straight edge like this. And I like to put that right under my contour to help sharpen the line a little bit, and then leave it while I finish the rest of my makeup. So that when you go more from the middle of your ear and you just stamp out a straight line. And that is not enough powder. Then I'm just going to let that sit, and I just got powder everywhere. But it's translucent, even though it looks white, it actually is clear, so no big deal. So while I have that setting, I'm going to finish contouring the rest of my face. This isn't such a big deal, but I always like to do the top of my forehead. If you have a really big forehead, you want to contour and bring the bronzer down a little bit. That'll help just kind of bring in your forehead and give the appearance of a smaller forehead. But even when you have a smaller forehead, I think it looks unfinished to have this like harsher contour line and then no contour anywhere else. So I do like a really light contouring on the forehead and a really light contouring on the chin, just to try to bring it all together. And then at the very end, I will warm up my skin once I wipe away this powder with just a light bronzer just to give a glow everywhere. But for now, while this is setting, I'm going to leave it alone. Then I'm going to do my blush. I'm going to use the Becca Jaclyn Hill palette, and I'm going to combine both of her blushes because they're just absolutely beautiful. I'm going to do one dab of each and then, dab it off. And then when you do it, most people want to do their blush like right on the apples of their cheek, but when you do that, it's like, sometimes you can look a little bit clownish if you do too much pink right here. So you want to angle it and then not go into your contour, but angle it outward, not going up into your temple either. And then once you apply it, then kind of wisp it over the apples a little bit. Then you do that on both sides, and then you blend. So the bronzer that I'm going to use later on to warm up my whole face, I'm actually going to apply to my under eye area right now. Some people like to leave it more white, so it's more of a highlight, because if you're trying to highlight, like really intensely highlight your face, the rule of thumb is you want to make a heart and then go like this, and that whole area you would leave as a highlight and not put any kind of bronzer on that. I don't like that, so I'm just going to put a little bit of bronzer under my eye area. I'm using the Morphe G8 because I think that this brush is just beautiful for under the eye. And if you want to highlight, but you want to do it subtly, you'd want to put your highlight on before you blush. But I like having a more intense highlight, so I put it on after blush. So that's just going to be a matter of preference. And there are so many different ways to highlight too. And so many different highlighting options. Like you can do anything that's light and peachy or actually totally icy to complete gold. I mean, I'm going to do a rosy one today to show you like more of a neutral one. So I'm going to use the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector pressed in the color Rose Gold. And I think this one is more of a beautiful natural highlighter, if you want to call it natural. And I'm going to take the Morphe M500, the bigger one, and I'm going to dab it in, and I'm going to smile and just lightly brush it onto the apples of the cheeks, and then work the rest of the product upward. Actually, I'm going to grab the smaller one because this is such a light neutral highlight, so I'm going to take the Morphe M501 and put that in the apples of my cheek and swirl it around. And then bring it up. Like I told you in my Morphe video, there is a reason for all of these different brushes. The big one is great for blending out and covering a large section. The smaller one is great for getting the whole section. Some people like to highlight their nose. I don't really like doing the nose. I don't like the shine on the center, but you could do just the tip of your nose. You could do the whole line of your nose and the tip. You could highlight your chin, especially if you've got really dry skin. If you have really dry, patchy skin though, or you've got a lot of texture, you don't want to go heavy on the highlight, and you may want to pick and choose your areas wisely with where you highlight, because you can highlight just the apples, you can highlight just up here, you can highlight the whole section, you can do a little bit just above your eyebrows to give you like a little bit of a natural lift, like this. But if you have a lot of texture, or you happen to have a really bad breakout, or whatever it is, it's that time of the month, highlighting and putting on that many powders is actually going to bring a lot of attention to your pores and whatever breakouts you have. So just be careful with highlighting and powders if you're not having like great skin that day. And I've been there, and I hate skipping highlight, but it's better than emphasizing any kind of bad things that are happening in our skin that day. I'm then going to take the Morphe M321 and go back to the Becca Jaclyn Hill palette, take her Champagne Pop, which is the first one, and highlight my Cupid's bow. You could actually do your lipstick at this point and highlight your whole lips if you wanted to. And then I'm going to take that same Champagne Pop and highlight my under my eyebrows. Now I'm going to bronze my neck and my chest. I have some new Morphe brushes coming in tomorrow, but they didn't make it on time for this video, so I'm using the Sephora Round Powder number 120, and it is a nice, big, fluffy brush. It's awesome. And we're going to just warm up this whole area so that way it's going to blend out when we take off that face powder. And then you can also highlight the tips of your shoulders depending on what you're wearing, and you can highlight your collarbone, you can contour your collarbone, and then put highlight on. I mean, it depends on the occasion, what you're feeling. There's just so many different ways to use highlighter, contouring, bronzer. It's just whatever your preference is. Whenever I have a special event, I really like to contour my collarbone and then highlight it because I think it looks really pretty. I'll just apply a really light highlight to the collarbone right now. I'm going to use her Becca Jaclyn Hill in Prosecco and put a more gold on that collarbone. And then you'll see the final look at the end of the video, because I know this is super zoomed in so you can see more of my face. Now, ordinarily, I would finish up my eyes and then wipe away the face powder, but since I'm doing eyes as a separate tutorial, I'm just gonna wipe away the face powder now so you can see what it looks like. So this one is the Morphe M527, and it's just great at buffing out that powder. See, all gone. And now that contour is just gonna sit better all day. And then everything is blended. And we're good to go on the face. The last step, again, if I wasn't filming, I would have finished up my eyes. But the last step would be using whatever setting spray you like. I love using the Tatcha Luminous Dewy Skin Mist. If you love using the Urban Decay, there's like an all-nighter one. There's so many makeup setting sprays. That's your very last step. So now we're just gonna set our face. This brings moisture back in. It helps all the powders kind of work their way together, and it just feels wonderful. And it's gonna help your makeup last all day. It's gonna help you not get cakey, creasy, feel dried up. It is just wonderful, and you can touch up that spray at any point, or touch your face up with that spray at any point during the day. So I hope you guys learned some new tips, tricks, new color shades, whatever it is that you enjoyed. Either video, if you watched the eyes, the foundations, or both, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And until the next time, good night, good morning, wherever you are, and I will talk to you later. Love you guys. Bye.